Asteroid of fear.
Hey, after you finish listening to this amazing podcast, be sure to give it a 5-star rating. Then go check out the other podcasts in the Podcast Connection Network, including my own, Magic and Metamorphosis. Check us all out. The link will be in the episode's description.
Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast, and on today's episode, I have Steven Rados. He's a ex-professional boxer, and we are going to talk a little bit about self-development and mindset today. How's it going today?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
I'm good. Good. It's nice and hot here in Texas. How's the weather over
Yeah.
there?
It's actually a little bit cold at the moment. It's winter here.
Oh, nice. I would hear everybody in Texas would probably give anything to be in winter right now. But
Do you know what?
let's
Everyone would here would probably prefer summer.
It's been like 100 degrees, so it is hot and humid because
Yeah.
we've had a lot of rain and stuff. But I just want to start off by getting a little bit of your backstory, kind of where you grew up and what led you into boxing and self-development and mindset.
Yeah, so I'm from Sydney, Australia, and basically I started boxing because I wanted to be able to look after myself. I thought it's probably inevitable that you're going to get into trouble at some point, just kind of growing
Right.
up where I grew up. So yeah, I wanted to be able to basically be able to look after myself. And then once you kind of realize you learn how to fight, you actually don't care about fighting at all. It's the last
Yeah.
thing on your mind. Um, and then yeah, as just growing up, going through like life and stuff like that, I realized I'm like, okay, like just I always wanted to get better and be better at things, and just you see people like whatever with money, or like they just seem happy, or like they have their life all set out. And as a kid, you kind of look up to that. And then as I grew into an adult, I got in trouble a little bit and stuff like that when I was like early 20s, and I was like, there's just got to be a better way to live. And then I just started chasing that basically, and I got more into the boxing because I realized that kept me out of trouble and stuff like that. So yeah, and then through that, I got more into like the personal development and the mindset and everything like that, and it's basically
How
led me to where I am today.
how old were you when you started boxing?
I was 15.
15. And was that something you brought up to your parents, like, hey, I want to do this, I want to try it? Or was it something, because my dad was a Golden Glove boxer.
Oh
And
yeah,
so from a very young age, I was always interested in martial arts and whatnot. And so when I can't, maybe 9 years old, I was like, hey, I want to take karate or something. And
yeah,
so did you have anything like that? Did your dad box or?
yeah. So my dad boxed a little bit, and I went like rarely with him, and then he stopped, and I forever wanted to do it, but my dad never took me or anything like that. So it was kind of like when I got a bit older, like I said, I was about 15. So then I could start to go myself, and I wasn't so reliant on my parents. My dad still took me when I did start to get more into it, but it was something I'm more stuck through when I got older, and obviously took myself.
How was it when you got started? Were you nervous, or what was the most nerve-wracking part, and what was it like getting punched in the face for the first time?
Um, it was something like that. I really wanted to fight. Like I had that goal already set in mind. So when I started out, yeah, I was just young and excited to do it. And there wasn't really a lot of nerves, especially like your first fight. You don't know what to expect. So I feel like you get more nervous on your second fight because now you know what it's about. And then, yeah, I don't think I was too nervous because there's just, like I said, I had that goal in mind. But as I progressed more through it, I wish I took it more seriously when I was a kid, to be honest with you. But yeah, nerves kind of grew as you learn more about the sport, and it gets harder because at the start, not that it's not hard, but at the beginner like level, it's all kind of like I would say easier. Obviously, as you get better, the levels get harder, right?
Yeah, it gets
So
more
yeah, you get
technical.
more nervous later on.
Right. And then also, with that, I guess it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. And so it's almost like a little bit of ignorant bliss in a way. But then, of
Yeah,
course, too, like I studied martial arts, and, it's age, it's rank, whatever color belt you are. And whenever you're sparring or fighting, that's how it's manned up. And, and so with that too, of course, as you improve your skills and you level up to different belts, the people you're sparring against are also leveling up as well. So, um, of course, you got an increased level of difficulty, and therefore, it's a lot easier to get touched up. So you might get a little more nervous because your opponent has a lot more skill than in the beginning.
Exactly, and you're always versing like tougher people because you want to get better. So usually, yeah, you're progressing, trying to verse like harder people, find harder people for sparring, people that are better, so you can get better. So yeah, at the beginning,
So,
I feel like it's a little bit easier.
yeah, when you were in your young 20s and you mentioned getting into some trouble, was were you not boxing then?
I was not boxing as much then. No, I like stopped fighting and stuff like that. I would like train here and there, but I wasn't boxing full time.
Okay. And you think that's kind of now, did you go to college or anything like that, or were you working, or what was kind of the deal that, let the idle
No, not
hands?
working too much. Yeah, not really working or anything like that. But points that I did work, but yeah, nothing really solid.
Yeah, just being young and full of piss and vinegar, and that's kind of how
That's
it goes.
exactly it.
Where I
Yeah, just
always
hanging
tell my
around the wrong
wife,
kind of friends.
yeah, well, and I think men, boys, especially when we get together and there's no females around, we can be quite mischievous when left to our own devices, and we seem to do very dumb things and get in trouble. I don't know why, but I feel like that's just the way we are. Even at 48 years old, I'm still like, oh, if I didn't have my wife and my daughter, there's no telling what I'd be into.
It can get a bit like that sometimes. Yeah, that's why I figured if you have a goal in mind, that's the best way to keep you on the straight and narrow.
So you decided to go back into boxing because you figured, hey, this is going to keep. And so getting in trouble was kind of the catalyst that was like, hey, I need to figure out a better way.
Yeah, I was like, I need to have some sort of goal and direction here. Like, I always wanted to fight professionally,
Hmm.
but I just never took it too serious. It was kind of like always in the back of my mind. And then I was kind of like, all right, like now it's time to really bite the bullet and focus. Because
So
like you're growing up now, so
when you got back into it, you went in fully and ended up boxing professionally after you got into trouble and kind of decided to
got in
change
trouble,
it.
stuff like that. And then I started to get back into fighting as an amateur. And then when I really wanted to focus, I was like, okay, like I need to just, yeah, focus, get a proper job, and just box. And then, yeah, I turned professional. That was like my goal.
And how many professional fights did you have?
7.
7? And what was the most enjoyable thing about it? Was turning pro like, was it what you expected? Was it joy? Was it nervousness, or what was it?
You know what? Again, it's funny because your first pro fight is like very similar to your first amateur fight. Because again, you don't know what to expect. It's a very different aspect now. Like you got your hands wrapped like a brick. You got these tiny little gloves on as opposed to like soft wraps in the amateur and like soft kind of gloves and a headgear. It's very different. So you don't know what to expect again. So I wasn't really nervous. I was just kind of focused. And then yeah, it all happened so fast to be honest as well. But it was good though. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was too difficult. Like I said, it gets more difficult later on.
Yeah. And so you have your professional fights, and um after you decide to either did you stop fighting, or did you get injured, or did you make a conscious
No, so
decision?
I started coaching as well throughout my professional career, and then I
Mhm.
just started I actually started to enjoy coaching people more than I did fighting myself. I enjoy the process of making people better.
Okay. And so when you so it was kind of like you were actually already in the process of coaching and fighting, and you were like, the coaching was really clicking for you, and you noticed how much you
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and that's kind of where you started piecing together like, hey, self-development, mindset, and whatnot.
Yeah, that's it. I was kind of always into it, and I enjoyed, like I said, the process of making people better. You help people kick their goals and achieve their goals. And at the start, I really wanted to fight, and then just as my coaching career progressed, I just started to enjoy it more and more. And then I just decided I was like, I don't really want to fight anymore. I kind of got turned off the fighting game, and yeah, I really just enjoyed, like I said, making people better and helping them achieve their goals.
Now, when you were boxing professionally and in coaching, did you guys were you trained in any mindset stuff, or was it kind of, I would say, like typical, just man stuff? Be tough, don't whine, you get punched in the face, just shake it off. Or did they coach you in any way, or where did you kind of develop some
Not from
skills?
boxing, but I like to read. I like to
Hmm.
read and stuff like that, and then also then I just like yeah, researching stuff like that online. And as I got older, I started doing like a couple mindset programs, personal development programs, stuff like that, just looking more and more into it. And then just through life experience, I think you just piece things together after you go through an experience. You're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And yeah, you just understand things more and more as you get older and as you go through things.
Yeah, definitely. Experience is a great teacher, and laps around the sun, just time kind of gives you more
Yeah.
experience. But um hold on, I had a question. It was, oh, so did you did you do anything for your mindset while you were an amateur and a professional? Were you actively reading stuff and kind of practicing and working on your own mindset, or how did you mentally prepare for fights?
Not that I knew it at the time. I actually wasn't doing anything specific. I wasn't really reading too much. But now that I'm older, I realize I'm like just doing the difficult things. Like you just come out better on the other side of it. You get more resilience. And basically, you have no choice. That's always the other thing, giving yourself no choice. Like my options were, okay, cool. Don't train. Don't fucking fight. Don't train, sorry. And then lose your fight, get knocked out in front of a whole bunch of people. Like they're the options. Don't feel like doing it. Too fucking bad. You will lose. So you kind of
Right.
just you think about it and you're like, all right. Whereas now I look back, like doing all those difficult things prepares you for like the next thing, and it helps you build confidence to go into like other areas. Confidence bleeds into different areas.
It's funny. Do you ever sit and think back of if you knew some of the stuff you knew now and had applied it then, like how if your boxing career
How
might have
different
been
it would be,
different?
100%. Especially since I started coaching, I see things from a completely different perspective. I feel like becoming a coach makes you a better fighter.
Yeah, it's so interesting because there's this saying, it's pretty old, of like, those who can't do teach, or like if you can't play, you coach. But at the same time, when we look at self-development, mindset, high performance coaches and whatnot right now, Michael Phelps, Olympics, they all have coaches. So it's sometimes it's kind of strange that people would say that. Um, but kind of like you said, the coach, their job is to prepare. But now you have some extra skills and whatnot with your mindset. Do you feel, are you, the people you coach, are you bringing some of that knowledge, that book knowledge and whatnot into it? And are you mentally preparing them as well as just the physical part?
100%. Because the other thing is, well, I know what it's exactly like. I've been through that experience. So I can tell you firsthand all the things that you're going to go through and how to overcome them because I've done it. I have the experience to do those things. So I can teach you how to do them. And that's just in life. Like most of the people I train don't even want to fight. They just come and they have other issues going on in life. And then I help them get over those as well.
So it's kind of like more like an outlet, a positive outlet,
Yeah.
some community. Um, because I definitely think that's important, especially as men, because I feel like when we're younger, we have our boys and whatnot, and then we get older and we have girlfriends or spouses and whatnot, and we kind of separate from our main, nucleus of friends, and we can get kind of stuck off here by ourselves as men. And so I think that
Yeah,
that's definitely important in terms of whether it's men's groups or something like you're doing. Now, do you coach youth or do you coach adults?
both.
Both.
Yeah.
Uh, who who seems to enjoy it more? Who takes in the advice and the knowledge a little bit more, the adults or the kids?
The adults, they each have their own like challenges, I would say, to overcome as coaches. The kids you got to build more of a bond with. Some kids are a little bit shy and reserved. Some kids are more open, but the kids that are more open usually are harder to listen and stuff like that. Kids
Yeah.
who are more shy will listen to what you say, but they'll apply it like secretly. So it's very different. And then same thing with like adults. Everyone's a bit different, so you got to tailor like what you're doing to them, but still remain being you.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that is. And so you probably just learn a lot just from watching the different types of people and kind of
100%, you really do.
understanding maybe what their fears are, what they're reserved about. Um,
Yeah, if people just get like they feel that comfortable to open up to you because you're seeing them in these like difficult situations. You're putting them through hard things. They're out of breath. They're tired. You know what I mean? They feel like shit. They obviously
yeah.
feel good after it, and then they end on a high, and then people just feel comfortable to talk to you about their life.
So how do you coach or mentally prepare people if I'm coming in? Are you gonna say, hey, you're gonna get punched in the face and it's gonna feel this way, or here's what you do, or don't don't be afraid, or don't just stick in there, stick in the pocket? How do you coach through that?
Depends on what your goal is, but like before your first sparring session, I usually tell people, I go, you're gonna do all kinds of shit that we've not done before in training. You're gonna throw stupid shit. Your flight or fight response is going to kick in, and it's okay. Just don't freak out. We'll get over it. You will not die. You'll be okay. You're in a safe space. Like you're fine. But yes, you are going to get hit. No, you cannot fucking quit, and you'll be okay, and you'll come out better for it on the other side.
Huh. And everybody seems to be, what's the have you ever had anybody just say, no, I don't want to do this?
You know what's funny? That it's more the people who are overly confident that are like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna fucking kill this. Blah blah blah. You don't know me. Watch. You'll wait. You'll see. And I'm like, I do fucking know you because I've been training you for this. And they're usually the ones that want to quit first. It's more the quiet people that are like, all right, cool. Like I'm just gonna go in and do what I can. And they're like, yeah, they're more likely to push through and they're more likely to stay longer. It's the overconfident people that I think have the issue because it's really an insecurity just covered by overconfidence.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. We were kind of talking about that today, um, in another setting. How confidence and lack thereof, but sometimes being overconfident. Um, you kind of you might need a little bit of humility every now and again. But
Yeah, I
what?
think be very confident, but not to the point where, like I said, it's false confidence.
Yeah. So hold on, I had this question in my head for a second. It was what was it? Now, did you wanted to learn to fight? Now, did you
Yeah.
actually have to get in any fights between, your 15 and 20s?
See, that's funny. I got in since I've started boxing. I've been in one fight outside of boxing, and it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Oh,
That like what's that? Once you know how to fight, you don't give a fuck about fighting because you know how, and just your confidence is like. So I'm just like, I don't even waste my fucking time. I'm like, until you touch me, like you fucking, I don't care. I'm
so
like,
how long did it take for you to develop confidence in boxing from when you started?
I don't know because I was quite young, so I don't think I ever realized it to a certain point. People told me, But I don't think I ever realized it until I got older. And I'm like, you just feel more comfortable, I think.
Now, because you were wanting to learn to fight, because you figured you would have to at some point, were you a confident kid?
No, I wouldn't say I was overly confident.
More reserved?
Yeah, definitely more reserved.
So when did you notice the confidence and kind of what it gave to you?
I think, to be honest, I noticed when I more started getting into the mindset side of things and realizing that you need to be a little bit more outgoing to just kind of reach a broader range of people and start to talk and help and better more people. That's not going to do that if you're just sitting there and not talking to anybody, kind of thing. Or if you're too reserved, yeah, then you're not really going to reach the amount of people that you want to reach.
Where in the process, what you talked about enjoying coaching and kind of taking that step back and going, this is what I enjoy, this is what I want to do. Now, I know it can seem natural because that's what you did. Just like when, I took martial arts, they might say, "Hey, can you teach a class?" And you're like, "Sure,"
Yeah.
because you've done it. But I'm curious, when did this when did it become evident or kind of the mission that I want to serve others. I want to give in to others. I want to help them develop, whether it's self-confidence, mindset. Like, where does that uh, desire for service come from?
I think I just realized that I could do it for myself, so I could do it for other people, and I realized the joy that I give them when I have like our training sessions or when I like sit there and talk to them and they leave in such a better headspace. I ended up feeling a lot better for it. Like I was like, cool, like I made their day. So I got enjoyment out of that, and I just felt like, okay, this is something that I can do and I can do it really well, and I enjoy it. So
Man,
it just built over time, just with each person. You know, you help fix their problems or you help them have a better day or whatever it is. And then it just builds over time.
and that's kind of what gives you that charge that
Yeah,
kind of keeps you going back to it.
100%.
So what are some techniques? What are, if I were a client of yours or, let's say I'm not coming into the gym or something, but let's say I emailed you from Texas and I'm like, "Hey, I'm interested in a little mindset stuff. Mm, I'm having trouble going to the gym as many days as I would like to, or, my training sessions aren't as great as I'd like to." What kind of advice would you give me? Or where would we
But
start?
okay, I think having a goal in mind is really good. So it's like, okay, how do we like what do you want to look like? What do you want to do? Why do you want to go to the gym so much? Like I think, you always need to be trained just to be physically fit as a guy. Anyway, you need to be look after yourself, you need to be able to protect for others,
Right.
whatever it is, you might have a sister, you might have a daughter, you might have a partner, whatever it may be. I'm like, you need to be able to look after yourself, you need to be able to look after them. But what's your personal goal? And then how are we going to achieve that? It's like if you're really serious about it, you need to actually stay focused and then do these things and tick them off. And every time you try and get like distracted, think forward, be like, okay, is this going to help me get to my goal if I don't go to the gym today? No. Will it waste my time if I sit here and I do a half-assed session? Yes. So it's like, okay, we're going to be here anyway, might as well put in the fucking effort. Otherwise, go home. And if you're not willing to go home and quit, then just fucking put in the effort in your session.
I like that. It's very black and white. I've had quite a few of these conversations in this kind of similar space, and that's that kind of non-negotiation with self, like either do it or don't. You know,
Yeah.
shit or get off the pot. No growth happens on the fence. You can't take two paths. Take one and just do it all the way, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And
Uh,
you don't even need to be super fit or in shape or have a six pack. Just train for your general health. Like, you know that you're going to feel better afterwards. It's going to progress you further in life. It's not like it's going to hold you back from anything. It will push you further.
yeah, like for me, I mean, I interviewed a gentleman and we talked about fit to task. I'm 48. so I'm not young, but it's I'm able to go to the water park with my daughter. I'm able to go down the slides, walk upstairs, and do different things, play, go in the ocean. And like for me, sure, I'd love to have a six pack, but at the same time, I'm 48, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I do many different things. And, for me, it's just about being healthier, um,
Yeah,
about trying to live a little bit longer. And if I can do that, because I've lost 47 pounds over the past couple of
nice.
years, and so I'm still kind of on the working end of it. But in general, when I was way overweight, it was really just about you need to feel better. You know, it wasn't necessarily about the looks. And then, of course, as you age, and I have a young daughter, I'm like, would like to live a long time, hopefully. And
For
so
sure.
that was kind of my whole just, do something every day. It doesn't have to be balls to the wall, 110%, but try to get some sort of movement every day, even if it's just a
For
30-minute
sure.
walk.
Yeah, you mentally feel better, you're mentally in check, and then you keep that word to yourself. You're like, all right, cool. I said I was going to do this. All right, I did it. And you build confidence off of that as well, I find.
How have you dealt with setbacks in the past?
Setbacks depends. I always just think, you know what? It's just something that you have to go through. I see setbacks as kind of like a challenge. It's like, all right, you needed this to get to where you need to go. For whatever reason, whatever thing didn't go your way, it's going to help you grow and you're going to come out better on the other side for the next time you face a similar situation.
Now, is that the same? I would consider an injury a setback. It would, how do you reshift, like if you were to be injured and you can't put out physically? What do you do to kind of offset that? Because I know for many people, like you were saying, I mean, part of the reason I go to the gym is because it gives me a little boost, a little high, makes me feel better. And so I know when I hurt my calf and I couldn't work out lower half for, I had trouble walking for probably 6 weeks. But, that mentally was soul crushing, because it takes you out of your routine and
For
whatnot. So
sure.
how do you deal with injuries, or how do you redirect the energy to keep it positive and not get depressed over it?
Luckily, I don't get injured very often, but I fucking hate injuries. It's something that I despise because I hate not being able to do, like you said, training or whatever it is. I hate being incapable of doing things. But basically, I just think I go, all right, cool. Like if I hit injure my leg, I can train my upper body. If I injure my upper body, I can train my legs. I can. There's still certain things that I can do. I just think, all right, cool. It's a test. Do you really want to stay fit or do you not? Because if you can't get over this little injury and continue to do what you want to do, you're never going to progress to where you want to go in life. Like if something's so insignificant as an injury on one part of my body, whatever is going to hold me back, then you're not really going to get to where you want to go. You might as well just stop now because you won't get there. If you can't get past just that thing, life's going to be way harder than that.
Now, you guys burn a lot of calories. Do boxers, I mean, I know they have to have some sort of weight class, but are they strict on diet and nutrition as well?
You kind of left up to your own devices with that as long as you make your weight. At the early part of my career, I was not very good at it at all. I used to cut a lot of weight, and then I got better and better at it. So yeah, you just kind of learn as you're in this fucking sport longer and longer. You just get better and better at things.
And what about now? How's your diet now? Do you kind of keep something consistently decent, or you don't have to
Yeah, I'm
make
always
weight or
in shape.
anything?
Yeah, but I'm massive. I love food, but also I'm very big on lead by example. So I cannot do like tell my clients to do something that I'm not willing to do. So I'm always in shape. I'm always training. I'm always doing everything that I ask of my clients. Because there's no way I'm going to be hypocritical and be like, oh, I used to do this. I used to be able to. That's bullshit. You'll lose the skill if you don't stay on to it. So if I don't stay disciplined, I'll lose that in all areas. So I don't have to be super strict, but I stay fit, I stay in shape, and I eat good.
And I would think that too would, you know, in terms of injury, I mean, you have a mechanical injury, but still, nutrients are part of your healing a muscle, essentially just like after a workout. Um, let me see. I feel like I had another question. They keep slipping my mind. It's like I have one and we start talking
And
and
then it
then
goes.
it gets twisted and I'm like, oh. I'm trying to think. Well, where did you, when you started getting into a little bit better nutrition, like, how, did you have coaches? Did you get the information yourself? Where did you learn about diet?
So I got diets from I got a dietitian for fighting and stuff like that, and then just
Hmm.
again just doing my own research, learning bit by bit, talking to people who'd also done it for longer than me, so people with the experience. So I'm like, okay, like what do you do? What does other people do? Just gathering kind of information, and then just trying it all, figuring out what works best for you. It's a lot of trial and error, and you just kind of figure things out as you go. And you know that at the end of the day, you're going to make it work no matter what, but try and make it work in the best way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the gentlemen I interviewed, like he said it's like whether it's trying something new or whatever, he's like, try it for 30 days. What does it hurt? Like, call it an experiment. It may
Yeah,
turn out to be the best thing in your life. And if not, then hey, pivot, if sometimes you figure out that it just doesn't work, whatever it is, because I had lost weight and I was able to add back calories and I was able to add back, like, let's say 400, but it was too much. I couldn't eat that much more because I
yeah,
was so used to being restricted in order to lose
yeah. Your
weight.
stomach shrinks, gets used to it.
Yeah. And so I had trouble getting that in. And so I'm like, okay, I'll cut it in half and just try to increase by 200 calories because I needed a little extra protein so I can
Yeah,
lose the last little 15 pounds. But yeah, that's, it, that trial and error, when you try to reach the goal and you don't get there, pivot and go, hey, maybe it's just one notch backwards, one step back, let my stomach expand, and maybe eventually I'll be able to add in and get in a little more protein. But
just it's just trusting the process.
yeah, that's kind of the thing, the daily. So where do you actually work out of a gym? Do you work out of a home, or what is your process like for people who might be interested in uh, getting services from you?
So I work out of a gym, and then I do my mindset and fitness coaching online. So I do my
Okay.
boxing stuff out of the gym, and obviously people get access to me anyway because we're already in the gym. So we were already working on their mindset. It goes hand in hand with the boxing. And then I also do, like I said, fitness and mindset online.
And what's the website where people could find you?
I was just on my Instagram. It's just
And
Steven Rados.
okay. Um, and of course, one of the things I like to ask everybody is what is something unexpectedly good that's happened as a result of, when you decided to make the shift and want to do this?
How much better your life can get from there was nothing wrong with my life before I was progressing, but how much better things can get, how much better you just have an outlook on life, the levels that you can actually get to and achieve. I think that's really that's really something that took me more by surprise. Just being consistent and how much you can just continually level up and how fast things can happen.
And what do you have what's your next level?
I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, I've invested in a property. I want to buy a unit in Melbourne. I want to get a new expensive car at the end of next year. Just, yeah, all these things that I thought were a dream at one point. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
they're actually so achievable that I'm going to get them and then it's going to be on to the next thing.
Now, do you just use hard work or do you use any visualization techniques like athletes?
Yeah, I do as well. I always picture what I want my life to look like and then focus on my goal, whatever's next. Just the ultimate big picture and then the steps that it's going to take to get there.
Yeah.
But I
I,
definitely visualize it 100%.
I've found that, when I started just walking, Um, I didn't feel like I made any progress for a long time. It was just small walks, and then all of a sudden I started lifting some weights here and there, like twice a week. And then I don't know how long it was, but you turn around one day and you don't look the same. But
Yeah.
you barely notice it.
You don't
And
notice yourself. That's why I always say take photos. It's a good thing because you see yourself every day. So you're not going to notice these small changes.
yeah, and it's wild, kind of like you said, and thinking about kind of like the visualization process of, when I can remember, I did an in-person interview with someone that hasn't been released yet, but that was kind of something I visualized because I'm sitting here behind a camera, and a lot of
Yeah.
the podcasts I've done, so that was kind of a big deal for me to be able to like visualize, hey, I want to do an in-person, and then actually get the opportunity to do so. But it's kind of like, I for me in the podcast arena, I felt like if I weren't aligned or on the right path, then those kinds of opportunities wouldn't have can't come into my life.
100%.
And so my growth has been, I would say, exponential in the past 7 months. It's been about a year-long process that I quit alcohol in June of 2023, started the
Nice.
podcast in July, and then, about New Year's, I got invited to join the Podcast Connection Network. And then since then, it's been pod match, interviews, and just leveling up, leveling up, leveling up. But, for me, it was all about the the daily, you know, like just the same way I didn't notice any results from walking or lifting for a while, and then I turned around and I'm completely different. It's kind of the same with the podcast. I started off, and next thing you know, I'll be probably 60 episodes or so by the time 1 year hits, and I've bumped up to release in 2 a week, and just waiting for
No,
the next level ups. Kind of like you say,
that's it. Just trusting the process and continually like doing the right things consistently.
yeah, it's that daily work. And I tell people, I didn't have New Year's resolutions this year. I chose a word, and that word was consistency, because I felt like
Yeah.
if I did anything consistently, whether it's fitness, podcasting, that I will make progress. Um,
Yeah.
and it may not be, you know, things take time. And of course, we have
Of course.
setbacks. And of course, we learn smarter ways to train, better ways to do things, and we become more efficient, and it gets better. But yeah, I'm kind of in that place, and I, I find it fascinating because a lot of the, I ask people that same question, um, and I ask them too about visualization and whatnot. And so I do it. A lot of the people I've interviewed do it. And so I like to kind of put that out there because I think people need to understand that, um, whatever you think you're going to attract. But then also, you need to get detailed with it. You can't just
Yeah.
leave it kind of, I just want to be over
Detail
there.
it, picture it. I think if you can be around it, that's also good. People that have also done what you're trying to do, because then you're like, all right, this is very possible, and then you know that you can achieve it too.
Yeah. And then there's also, probably like with boxing or anything, it's imagining the crowd, the ding of the bell, and all those sounds, um, that come along with it, to kind of get acclimated. So yeah, very, very interesting.
Sure.
Well, do you have any questions for me?
No, no, I don't. I just yeah. See,
Okay.
I agree with what you said about the visualization and the consistency. If you do anything consistently long enough, you're gonna be good at it.
Yeah. 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 There there wasn't too many other questions on the pod match profile. Um, so other than what I know about self-development and mindset, I was kind of like, oh, but yeah. All right, man. Well, if you don't have any questions for me, then we'll hop off and I will shoot you an email with the date it's going to be released.
Perfect.
And typically what I'll do is I used to do clips before and then
Yeah.
release, but I've actually started releasing the episode, then doing the clips, and I do some clips the same day as, because some people would see the clips, they go look for the episode, and the
And
episode's
it's not
not
there,
there.
then you lose interest.
And then they're
100%.
they're emailing me going, "Hey, where's the episode?"
Yep,
But
for
yeah,
sure. I think that's a better way to do it. Yep.
yeah. So
Episode and clips.
I'll do that, and I'll shoot you an email with that, and I'll all your information's on Podmatch. Then I'll
Yeah.
put that in the episode description. That way, people can get in touch with you and whatnot. But
Perfect.
yeah, all right, man.
Thanks, man.
You have a good one.
You too, man. Thank you. See you later.
Later. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, go out and be the person that you want to meet.
Let's go.
Asteroid of fear.